It feels like we're living in an age of disconnection, right? Where it's so easy to feel like you're just a number, just one more transaction. Today, we're going to talk about a really powerful antidote to that feeling, hospitality. But we're not just talking about being polite. We're talking about something radical, something that can actually transform things, something unreasonable.
Yeah, let's be real for a second. This quote, it kind of hits home, doesn't it? It's that feeling you get when you're treated like you're an interruption, not a person. We're just seeing this slide in genuine human care, not only in business, but everywhere in our day-to-day lives.
So when we feel that lack of care, what's our first instinct? Usually it's to pull back, right? To give less of ourselves. But what if we've got that completely backwards? What if the real answer isn't to care less, but to care a whole lot more? What if the solution is to be, well, unreasonable about it? Okay, so to really get this whole unreasonable idea, we first need to get a handle on the problem itself. Let's dig into what's going on with this crisis of connection. I mean, we've all been there, right? The cashier who's just glued to their phone never even looks up. It makes you feel completely invisible, like you're just a transaction. And it's gotten so common that you even hear people arguing that good service is something you have to earn. And the result of all that? It's this creeping culture of apathy that just kind of brings everybody down.
But what if there's a totally different way to think about this? There's this powerful philosophy that directly challenges all that apathy. So let's dive into what makes this idea so, well, unreasonable.
So this idea, it comes from a guy named Will Guidara. And he's the person who took a restaurant in New York City, 11 Madison Park, and turned it into literally the #1 best restaurant in the entire world. In his book, he lays out the exact mindset that took his restaurant from just being great to being truly legendary. And he calls it unreasonable hospitality. Now, this is not just about being pleasant. It's a deliberate, creative, and completely relentless effort to blow past people's expectations. It's about turning a simple transaction into a memory that sticks with you forever. Okay, let's really break this down. Reasonable service, that's a one-way street. It's a monologue, it's purely transactional. They do their job, you pay, that's it. Unreasonable hospitality, though, that's a dialogue. It's all about the relationship. It's the difference between a hotel just meeting your reservation and a hotel that remembers you like your room on a high floor, away from the elevator. See the difference? So how does this actually play out in the real world? Well, it's all about finding these little opportunities to create what you could call everyday magic. And it's really built on a few core principles. First up, principle number 1, find the legend. And what he means by that is you're actively listening for these small chances to do something so memorable, so out of the ordinary that the person can't help but tell that story for years and years. Okay, so check out this story. A family is at one of the fanciest restaurants on the planet, and they just happen to mention offhand that their only regret about their whole trip is not getting a classic New York street hot dog. Now, the server doesn't just hear this, they listen. And before that family leaves, that server comes back to the table and presents them with a hot dog, a simple, tiny gesture that created a perfect, unforgettable story. But here's the thing. This kind of magic doesn't always have to be some big, spontaneous moment. The second principle is all about systemizing generosity, making it a reliable, repeatable part of your process. This wasn't some random act of kindness. They actually made it part of their routine. A simple question from the host, "So how'd you get here tonight?" led to this incredible little gesture. If they drove, someone would literally run outside during their meal and feed the parking meter with quarters. We're talking about a 50-cent gift that just consistently blew people's minds. It's proof you can build generosity right into your system. All right, this last principle. This is where things get really wild. It's all about not being afraid to take a cool idea and just go all the way with it, to its most creative, most absurd conclusion. This story is my absolute favorite. A couple is at the restaurant, and they mention how bummed they are because their beach vacation just got canceled. The team doesn't just offer sympathy. No, they recreate the vacation. They bring in sand into a private dining room. They set up beach chairs, they serve tropical drinks, the whole shebang. They didn't just fix a bad day. They created a memory that will last a lifetime. That is unreasonable hospitality. Now, it's so easy to hear these stories and think, okay, sure, that's great for a super high-end restaurant. But the real power of this philosophy is that it applies to any interaction, not just expensive ones. And let's be super clear about something. This is not about spending a lot of money. A hot dog, a few quarters for a parking meter, these things are cheap. The value is not in the price tag. It's 100% in the thoughtfulness. I mean, think about it. A real estate agent who saves that little piece of the door jamb with a child's height markings for the family that's moving. A doctor who just remembers a small detail about a patient's family. A manager who sees a team member is struggling and offers real support. This isn't just for restaurants, it's for anyone who works with people. It's about building relationships, not just checking off boxes. And this brings us to the biggest objection, right? The cost. Guidara has the perfect response for this. He just flips the question right back at you. In today's world, can you really afford not to do this? The loyalty and the connection you create are often worth so much more than the small investment. Which brings us right to our final thought. The question that's really at the heart of this whole philosophy. It's not about what's reasonable. It's about what's possible if we dare to be a little unreasonable. So I'll just leave you with this. What would you do in your life, in your work, if you knew you couldn't fail?